Welcome. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Trent, a legendary grade healer class Elune. Looking at his stats first, you'll notice that his HP is okay, his attack isn't bad, but his physical and magic defenses are somewhat low. He does make up for this, however, by having a very high attack speed, allowing him to get turns faster and to move quickly. As he is transcended up to his max, his HP does go up a significant amount, ending at a nice 48.7k HP. His attack goes up to 10k, which does help him with his skills, and his physical and magic defense are still somewhat on the low side. So focusing on defenses might be good to help him survive better. As we move over to his skills, his first skill, the normal Stem Twine, is a basic heal or attack skill since he is a healer class. It will deal damage equal to magic damage if hitting the target, which does do a significant amount, but also can heal by a lot too. So it is a good healing skill, single target, as well as a good damaging skill for magic damage. As this skill, like most other healers, they can target anything. He can help you to set up kills on enemy Elunes in the back line. As the skill is leveled up, it does become quite powerful, and it can be a nice finishing skill or fluff damage type skill, or also a very good heal when you combine this with his high base attack. Moving to his special skill, Earth's Blessing, he has a very unique ability on this that is different from others. He provides an enhanced buff that gives immunity against debuffs. At its base level, that buff is for 1 turn. This skill will also heal all of your allies. So, as it is an AoE heal and an enhanced buff to give immunity against debuffs, it's a very unique skill. As the skill is increased in level, it goes up to a 2 turn of immunity, which is very nice. The heal on it is also not bad. It is not amazing high, but it is good because it is based on attack, and he does have high attack. The ultimate skill of his is also a very unique thing to him. This skill does 2 things, which is what makes it unique. Other Elunes do have the ability to AoE remove effects. The difference being is that his ultimate skill, Safe Haven, not only removes effects, it removes every harmful and beneficial effect from everyone, including all the enemies and all of the allies. So in some cases you have to be very careful using this if you want to make sure that your allies have adequate protection through buffs or other heals that they have. It does not remove soul effects, so you don't have to worry if you put a soul effect on an enemy, and also you have to be wary of this in case you're thinking that you're going to remove a soul effect off of your allies by using it. This skill also heals all of your allies at the same time as doing an AoE damage to all of the enemies. As this skill is leveled up, the damage does become quite significant, and the heal is pretty good too, doing a lot of heal. So the heal and the damage come after the removal of the effects, so he doesn't benefit from this skill from having an attack buff, but also the enemies don't have any benefit of any type of defenses or other buffs. Moving on to his first passive, this one is a passive that heals the HP of the ally with the lowest current HP by 20% max HP as soon as he receives a turn. So every time he gets a turn, he will heal the ally with the lowest HP by a little bit. But only if an ally who is less than 50% of HP. So if everybody has full HP, this passive does not heal anybody. Or if they have more than 50%, it does not heal anyone. The second passive also affects his healing. Whenever he directly heals someone and that lands as a crit, he will then get a barrier on the person, providing an additional barrier that's based again on his attack, which is helpful. The barrier, of course, like all others, do not protect against soul damage, and it lasts for 3 turns. So any amount of crit that he does can place a barrier on them. This is also something that you need to be aware of if you do plan on using them in some of the boss dungeons, because one of the bosses, if there is a barrier, the boss will instantly get a turn and do AoE soul damage to everyone. So it is something you need to be careful or aware of if you are going to use him as a healer in one of the boss stages. His third passive is very good for him, as this does 2 things. The first thing is that it reduces the debuff inflict rate of all the enemies by 50%, basically giving you a good chance to resist debuffs for your entire team. He also has 2 turns of immunity at the beginning of the fight. This means that it is more difficult for someone to CC him or take him down through some type of CC or a debuff to weaken him so that he can take more damage. This also means that he does not have to necessarily use his cleanse from his ultimate skill on turn 1 so that you can focus your soul somewhere else on turn 1 into either a heal or damage, or letting your other allies take turns to do the damage or to set up debuffs or buffs for your team. As he has the ability for 2 turns, he can't be CC'd, so if the enemy does get a turn and is able to successfully CC you through the 50% reduction in debuff rate, then you can still use his ultimate skill to cleanse all of those debuffs off, as he will not be CC'd during that time. Moving on to the skill gem portion, the first skill, which is a heal and a damage skill, the recommended is a magic damage, a heal, and a crit rate gem. The bonus is a crit rate increase of 3% on that skill, which means that he can crit more often on the skill, either using it as a damage or as a heal. And remember, if he crits as a heal, then he gives a barrier as well. So setting the skill up to the recommended gems is not a bad idea, as the additional crit rate for damage or heal is nice because the skill does do both, and the gems also provide more damage or more healing too. His second skill, the special skill, also the recommended gems are a heal, and a speed buff, whereas this one provides only a 5% chance of increasing the target's magic defense by 10% for 2 turns. It is not necessary that you use this and go full set the way it is laid out. Instead, you can opt for a higher healing approach and go with a 3 green set so that the heal of the skill is more significant. As the skill also provides an immunity, there is no other skill gem that would extend the duration of the immunity, so going for the full green effect for the additional heal is probably another good option to use. As for his ultimate skill, the recommended, again, like the first skill, since this skill does do damage and heal, is a blue for magic damage, a green for healing, and an orange for increased crit rate. This skill's bonus for the skill gem is a 10% chance of increasing his attack by 10% for 2 turns. While this is a low amount of increase to increase his attack, the benefit of using all the gems anyway is still good, as this skill does do damage and healing at the same time, and critting does provide a barrier. So the blue gem for more damage onto the enemy targets as an AoE, the green gem for more healing to your team as an AoE, and the orange gem for the crit rate increase means that you have a better chance of getting a crit with the skill to the enemy on the AoE to provide that additional barrier to your team. When going for the dimension slate on him, some things to focus on for him is attack speed, so that he has as high of attack speed as you can. But also, because he has such a low physical and magic defense at all trans levels, then you would want to try to get as much physical and magic defense as you can on him. HP is also a good plus. He also does benefit from the increased attack, since all of his skills, damage or healing, are based on his attack. It is good to have the higher attack. The accuracy isn't necessary on him, as his third skill doesn't need it, and his evasion, he doesn't really need that either. So try to focus on his defenses, physical, magic defense, his HP for survival, and speed to try to move quickly if you want him to move turn 1. There are several gear sets that you can use for him. The healing set is a good set. Any of the healing sets would be good, as they provide additional healing. Speed is also nice if you want to have him move quickly, and you can use Trent in one of two roles as a healer, and that is either to move first to make sure that you cleanse all of any debuffs that are put on you. Like in the case of an air battle, if you're fighting an Arslan or a Fahrenheit, that will apply AoE debuffs at the beginning. In the case of Arslan, it is a evasion debuff, or in the case of Fahrenheit, it is a provoke. Having him move first, he can use his ultimate skill and cleanse all of those debuffs, meaning that you can then target anything that you want. And it can also remove the Arslan buff, which reduces the damage from Arslan, as the evasion debuff will no longer be there. You can also have him move later in your turn order, and then set up his special skill to provide the 2-turn immunity once you max it, so that if he moves last on your team, then you have 2-turn immunity. You don't have to worry about debuffs. As his passive already provides a good amount of debuff resistance, it isn't always necessary to have that up, but it can be nice to have if you're fighting a team that has a high amount of debuffs, or a team that can use debuff skills on a consistent basis, like for example when fighting a Nika that can use their AoE stun skill almost every turn. Trent overall is a good healer, AoE healer. He is very good for PvP, and he is not bad for PvE either. If he is your only AoE healer to have, then he would be worth building for PvE, but again, you do have to be careful with him when you are fighting one of the bosses, as the boss will provide a AoE attack that does soul damage if there is a barrier on your team. So you need to be very careful of that if using Trent, as his passive provides the barrier and it's not dependent on any gear or a skill to use. So it is something to be careful about if using him on certain fights. So having additional healers built or ready to go in his place for that boss is recommended. In terms of PvP, he is one of the better healers, as he is also providing a lot of support, and because of the current debuff meta and high attack meta, having the AoE heals on 2 skills is a nice ability. That's going to be it for this one. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below and I will answer them as soon as I can. Thank you.